Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Good Templar here, and today I'd like to talk to you about Squid Game, more specifically, the marble game in Squid Game. Now, I'm assuming you've watched the show Squid Game by now. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back and watch this video. Um, so, the question I had is it possible for both players in the marble game to live? Now, this one in particular has a certain strategy that would allow both the contestants to win quite easily, and it's unlike any of the other games where in the bridge game you're pitted against another team, where the night before everybody was just stabbing each other because they didn't eat a lot of food, which is like one night of not eating food and you're killing people. All right, sure, but I see that as a metaphor for humanity. When people start starving, they start killing each other. So I give it a pass. And then in the bridge game, it was two teams that clearly don't like each other. They're not going to cooperate. They're going to pull each other off the edge. So there was no way for everybody to survive in that one. But with the marble game, it's unique because there's just two of you, and it's going to be the person that you trust the most in there. And hopefully this person is someone that you really do trust. So several of the contestants could have done this. The married couple, the protagonist and the old man, the shady business guy and the overly trusting Indian guy, and the two girls. So this strategy is so obvious and so in your face that when I tell it to you, you're going to go, obviously, duh. Why didn't I think of that before? And the strategy is simply this. You share the marbles, right? So the old man was hinting at this before the game started. He was telling him how we're Ganbu now. We're Ganbu, which essentially means that they're best friends. They have no ownership between each other. They share things. They trust each other. The second the rules get announced, all that shit flies right out the protagonist's head. But he was giving him a hint. He was telling him how to win. And I'm sure many of you guessed already what I'm going to say based on the lead up, but the solution is simply this. You share the marbles. Okay? You share the marbles, and the only rule that they gave, two rules technically, was get the 10 marbles off of the opponent to win, to survive. And then the other ones you can't use violence. You can't take them by force. So all you do is you put the 20 marbles into one bag. You can even fashion like a little necklace thing that attaches to two people, and you hold the marbles together. And you go up to whoever's watching you, one of the people wearing a mask, and you say, we're sharing the marbles. We both have 20 marbles. Now, it's possible that the second you do that, they'll go, perfect, right this way, you're moving on. But it would be my suspicion that you'd have to run the clock out, that they'll just sit there and stare at you, probably say nothing. If they do say anything, they'll be dismissive. So yeah, that's why you really need to trust your partner in this. So that's why I specifically mentioned those four teams, because the other team with the criminal and his little subordinate, that definitely would have worked. But it mostly would have been beneficial for the married couple because the husband ended up killing himself anyways. So yeah, you got to play chicken essentially with them and run out the clock, and you did it. You followed the rules. You obeyed them. Yeah. And here's the thing. I believe that this strategy was built into it. Okay, that's the secret hidden right answer, so to speak. Because the old man is the one that made the game, and he was talking specifically about sharing right before the game started, and he was also testing the protagonist by pretending to forget. And it's my belief that if he was to not cheat him and to let him win the 20 marbles and go, you won fair and square, kudos. He would have said, well, we're Ganbu, we share everything. So he would have carried him through. And I believe that this realization also ties in with the old man's motives, right, and his character. So we already well established, he says it himself, that he was bored and that he's extremely wealthy and lost But what happens to rich people is it's very, you get surrounded by fake people, right? And you, especially if you're a cutthroat businessman, I'm sure you see a lot of other cutthroat scum of society. And he's surrounded by other billionaires that like to torture and kill people. So perhaps he was looking for somebody who truly made the grade, somebody who would either figure out the secret, obvious solution hidden right in front of your face. The thing that we're trying to teach children since they're 2 or 3 years old is how to share, right? And these are all kids' games. It fits perfectly in the narrative. And I think that he wanted to see if this was a real friend, right? Like, he was bored, surrounded by pricks, and here he is playing this game, about to die, and he's thinking, wow, this guy's really an upstanding guy. Let's see how upstanding he is. Now, obviously, this billionaire is not a good moral character by any stretch of the imagination. Extremely jaded. But, you kind of can compare it to the Saw, Jigsaw. He was trying to teach people to have a, I don't want to, I'm not going to spoil Saw in case, yeah, screw it, it's been out forever. So he's trying to teach people to have an appreciation for life. They don't appreciate their life. And this old man is probably somewhere similar to that, except he's more about moral choices. And, it ties in with the end of the movie when there's the homeless guy freezing to death. And he bets him that nobody will stop and help him, because he just thinks, because he's a cutthroat, because he does everything for himself and he's entirely selfish, that everybody else is that way. So in a way, this is to confirm his bias, that people are inherently selfish and will look out for themselves, even if they're a married couple, right? So the way that this lesson ties into the world that we're in now, the predicament that we're in now, is that we are in a game. Okay, this show is so compelling because it holds up a mirror to our reality. Okay, and there's a secret way to win. Now, is it going to be as simple as share the marbles? Of course not. But we're being pitted against each other, right? Society is being pitted against each other, left and right. Examples, left and right. Trump supporters versus Antifa versus maskers, anti-maskers, vaxxers, anti-vaxxers. They've set the paradigm up for us to believe that the only way to win is to beat the other guy. But we need to share the marbles, guys. We need to share the marbles, because we are coming into what I believe is the tribulation, as prophesied in the Bible. In fact, I believe we've actually started as of October 2nd, and that's going to last about 7 years. And then after that, the real apocalypse will begin. So we need to start using our heads, guys. We need to start thinking. We need to start being more compassionate with each other, and understand that even those who are lost in the deception they're just that, they're lost. They're not bad people for the most part. I'd say that the people at the top orchestrating this whole thing are pure evil, and there's no redemption for them. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the normal people, the people who believe everything they see on the news, the people that get riled up over race. These people, you need to try to get through these people. And I don't know, we're obviously not going to be able to get through to everybody, but time is running out. Time is running out. And if I can impart one reality, one truth that goes above all else, is that this is a battle between good and evil. God is real, the devil is real, and this is a battle between good and evil. And you better pick a side. Because if you sit on the fence, I'm telling you right now, guess where you're going? Okay? You need to turn to Jesus. You need to wake up. You need to see that we're not each other's enemies. Our enemies are the people pitting us against each other. So yeah, that's pretty good for my first video, I'd say. I want to make more videos about this, about movies and how they relate to our reality and our real life, video games, current events, things that interest me and I think are important. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, share. And comment down below. Tell me if you think my theory would work or not. Okay, or maybe if you thought of it first and you're like, wow, somebody finally made a video about this when I thought it was super obvious and it was in your face the whole time. But yeah, thank you very much, and see you next time.